Hello, welcome to Sonic Labs Special. We've got Tim here from Nectar Technologies. You may remember I did a video a few weeks back on the Panorama T4, which is their latest kind of mid-price controller, MIDI controller, where I explored some of the possibilities and we asked for questions, for comments, because we knew Tim was coming down to show us more about it. And here you are. So tell us.
Yes, it's good to be back. Sure, yes, so the Panorama T4, this is a new addition to our Panorama range. It comes in below the P series. This is a mid-level controller, if you like, but it's packed full of brand new technology.
So in this video, we were going to sort of mostly look at the kind of performance and the functions of it, more as just a generic MIDI controller. In another video, we'll take a look at the actual Nectarine side of things.
Yeah, so the performance features we've added are really key to this product, and so is the Nectarine product. So we're going to look at the keys. The keys are very dynamic. It's a brand new key bed, synth action with spring loaded.
Right, that was one of the questions that came up. Is it spring loaded? Yes,
it is spring loaded, and
it's channel aftertouch, not poly aftertouch, right?
It's channel aftertouch, but it's ultra expressive aftertouch.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So you've got this hooked up with Logic as just a generic MIDI input.
Yes.
So you were playing a little bit in the setup about, just showing us the dynamics of the key bed. So I wonder if you could.
Yeah, sure. So most important part of the controller, of course, is the keys and the key bed. We did a lot of work on this. You can see it's got this very soft to very hard hitting sound to it.
Yeah, the detail at the very low end of velocity. So we're getting the full 127 steps on this.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, yes. And strings is a great way to show off a dynamic performance, of course.
And of course, it's got the aftertouch as well. Have you had a similar amount of attention to that side of?
Yes, so the aftertouch, as I said, it was ultra expressive. I haven't ever experienced such an expressive combination of keys and aftertouch, to be honest.
You're allowed to say that because you're the product
yeah,
manager.
Exactly. But it's true. The aftertouch is very sensitive to the extent that
Well,
it
can we set this up to be to dynamics?
So I need to set. You can't set the dynamics for aftertouch.
But you can map that in here. This
You
is
can
in
map it
generic
here.
MIDI mapping.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So if I press the aftertouch, it's on channel aftertouch. I'm going to put it onto MIDI CC1, which is modulation, like so. And then
Right, okay.
Really smooth, you see.
That is, and again, it's at the lower. That's lovely. So, I mean, that's good to see because I know, a lot of keyboards have aftertouch, but quite often it's sort of a nothing and then on, and you don't get that. Yeah.
It's difficult to get the small values, exactly, and that's why this is so much more expressive than other controllers before it. You can even do, to some extent, vibrato.
Right. Nice. Nice.
Okay, so that's the expressive part that we get from the keys. Let's look at some more of the performance features related to the keys as well. So we've got auto chord generation. Press the chord button and it immediately gives you octave split, one higher than the note you're actually playing. The root note is the note you play,
right? And
you can actually learn a chord around the root note. So if I hold down chord, you see it says learn chord. I pick a root note and then I play a chord that I want to learn. And now I've got that chord on the keys. And the nice thing about having the chords like that is I couldn't play this on two. If you play two keys, you've obviously got those keys all the way across the key bed. So I've got my. So you've got like a full orchestra,
well,
because I couldn't play that with my hands like that. So that's why auto chord.
So and it's just a standard chord. It's not changing key or anything depending on where you're. It's just I see. But that makes a lot of sense.
Let's just turn that off a little bit. When you hold down a key and you engage hold, then you can see that
it's holding the
keeps
key,
playing
until
I turn it off.
Right.
But it's great for performances like this because you can just leave it there, and then you can play your chords over the top.
And when it's not adding it to the held, it's not like sustain.
No,
so this is remembering what note you or notes you press down while you have the hold feed. So It's like an intelligent sustain.
Yeah, an intelligent sustain that actually can be assigned to the sustain pedal as well if you want to. So you can click hold on
that's
that way
really
too.
handy. So you could play like a little muted chord and then play stuff on top and then combine. Right, that's
So I mean,
neat.
but hold also is great for legato patches, of course. You know, because obviously with legato, you're holding a note down and then it doesn't trigger the envelope or anything
Right.
anymore when you're playing on a synth. So hold for legato patches combined with Nectarine, of course, is really, really good. So we've got Valve Fix, which is an obvious one. It turns it on and fixes the velocity to to 127 by default. But if I hold down Valve Fix, you can change the key velocity,
Right.
and then you can also assign it to the mod wheel. So you can select your velocity with the mod wheel that way. You see.
And that's actually quite useful. I mean, if fixed velocity, obviously there's loads of 80s polysynths that didn't have velocity. So sometimes when you're playing a synth part, you want it to be fixed and don't necessarily want a dynamic response. So that's useful for that.
Yeah, it's quite a nice way of working actually. And then on the repeat side, we haven't looked at this yet. This is a really nice performance and workflow boosting way of
This
working.
is the key repeat.
It's the key repeat. So this is note repeat for your keys. So I've turned off chords. So it doesn't sound
Because we've got
like
quite a
there's
long, we've got quite a lot. But it's effectively, when you hold it down, it repeats. That
Yeah.
sounds like it's doing 16s at the moment.
It does. 16s is great for hi-hats and drums, but for strings you really want to turn
So
that
you
down.
can edit
let's
that,
go
right.
down. Yeah, so I'm going to change the repeat rate, and I'm going to increase the accent velocity, which is basically every interval, which is set here. So let's set it down to 3.
So every
It
3.
boosts the velocity of the
So you get
repeated
right.
note.
Okay.
So hold it down.
Oh, so if you play a chord, does that
That's
do
right.
the same thing? So you can get kind of like bowing type riffs, or if you're
Yeah.
using a percussive synth,
Yeah.
you can get some really kind of cool rhythmic parts there.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
No
is that
repeat
clocked to the door tempo, or does it have?
It can be. Yes, it can be.
Before we get, because I presume there's also a pad repeat button as well, which I know you've got something set up for that. Before we get there, though, generic MIDI control mode, we can program what all of these faders and pads and what have you do, right? There's no.
Yes,
Right.
everything's fully MIDI assignable to NECC, NRPNs as well covered.
And is that done via the keyboard, or do you need an editor for that?
No, all done via the keyboard.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. And because it's standalone, you've got, like I say, we've got the MIDI out, and so you can use it with just a USB power supply, presumably.
That's right. Yes.
And does it store its own presets if you've got particular setups?
Yes, you can save presets. There's use of presets there already,
Right.
and you can save your own presets as well for internal mode. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the performance features that we've just seen for the keys together, record an orchestral style film score maybe, just using these strings. But then, as we come to do the pad performance side of things, I'm going to chop up that performance into samples and put them on the pads, and we'll go from there.
So that's using the intelligent sustain.
Now we go for the chords.
Sounds like Holst.
Very nice.
Okay, so you've sort of auto chopped that up using Logic's kind of convert to a sample instrument. So we've
That's
got
right.
all the segments
Yep.
across the keyboard,
So
right?
we've got different samples on the keys right now. And for the section where we're focusing on the performance features of the pads, I'm going to leverage some of the samples off the keys and put them on the pads now. The first thing I'm going to do is select Pad Map 3, because Pad Map 3 is assigning all the pads to channel 10, and what I'm going to do at the end of this is play the pads on one track and the keys on another track, so you're playing a melodic element on the keys and maybe a rhythmic element on the pads, if you like. It's a question we get asked a lot, basically.
Because you can't split the keyboard, as in it said, but you can split the device, the hardware aspects of it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So different MIDI channels allows you to split things into different tracks. So that's what we will do. First thing to do is engage Pad Learn, pick a pad, and find a sample that you like. So that one's nice. I'll put that on there, I think. Shift Pad Bank is actually a shortcut for Pad Learn. So you can see Pad Learn is on here. The yellow flashing pad shows me which one is learning, and whichever note I play is going to be the note that it learns onto the pad. And we've done this, of course, on all of our other controllers.
Which is great, because the thing, you always see pads on MIDI controllers and you sort of go, yeah, that'd be great. But when it comes down to it, actually assigning a kit to it is just like, oh, and you end up just playing it off the keyboard instead. It's much easier.
Exactly, yeah, that's right. But the other thing about Pad Learn that we can do with this controller is I can layer. Let's find some layers. That's a big sound. So I can layer my samples. Because I can layer
so you can store,
notes
you can
onto
store
the
multiple
pads now.
notes onto. How many notes can you put on a pad?
I think it's 6.
And has each of the pads got a programmable pressure constituent as well?
Yes, it has. It's MIDI assignable to any controller you like. It's obviously got aftertouch. But you can also, what's interesting, I'm just going to show you the repeat now, is it also controls the velocity of your repeat.
Right.
So I can turn on pad repeat and you can hear.
So that gives you the same functionality. It's like an MPC thing almost, because that was, you could do fills and timed beat repeat type stuff.
Yeah, it allows you
to
to basically do like a crescendo as you're doing.
So these are set to 16th, but we've got other divisions as well, as we've already seen.
We have, but I'll keep it at 16 for now because it works nicely with pads. What I do want to show you in the repeat settings though, because we didn't do this with the keys, I don't actually want to have to press the button every time, which it's a momentary operation by default. So what I'm going to do is go to the setup, and I'm going to set up the button to be latching.
Yeah.
So now I can turn it on and it will be always on until I press the button again to turn it off.
Right.
The other thing you'll notice is there's a little delay sometimes, and that's because it's synchronized to the beats, the internal beat of the clocking. So I'm going to go to setup again, and you can go to the trigger sync, and you've got your beats there. I'm going to change it to key instead, and that will now.
So you only holds when you press and when you. Okay.
Yeah. So only as you hold it, it will repeat. Otherwise, you can just play normally.
Well, that's useful. So you could actually have like just be programming a straight beat and then just have little.
Yeah. You can just throw in a trill there. Exactly.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Okay, so I'm going to leave the rest of the repeat settings the same. Vel fix is essentially the same as we saw with keys, but you can, same thing, you can assign it to the mod wheel.
Right.
And have velocity control from the mod wheel.
Yeah.
And then finally spread. Note spread will, whichever note it is, keys or pads, the last note that you played goes over the pads.
So it just goes up in velocities, right?
It does, yeah, up via the pads 5, 6, 7, 8. I should say there's also an extra bank of pads as well, not for spread but for general playing.
Right.
So you've got 16 pads essentially that way, and and finally spread. Last pad you play, hold spread down, turn the data encoder to set those velocities as you like.
Right, so you can have them as different,
across, yeah. So you can set your crescendo up that way too.
Right.
Okay, so I guess all that remains is to look at how you can play the keys and the pads at the same time.
Right, so presumably you put like two tracks in to record at the same time and say, take this from channel 1, take this from channel 10, right?
Exactly, yeah, and let's just take a look at that now.
Right, so that kind of covers the performance aspects of it. These are available now?
Yes, available worldwide, Panorama T4, T6.
And have you got the pricing information?
Yes, US dollars, and the map price is $299 for the T4 and 359 for the T6.
Right, and so other currencies will display below. Tim, thank you very much for coming in. We'll see you in the next video. We're going to also have a look at the Nectarine aspect of it, which is the kind of more software side and the mapping. So thanks for watching. See you next time.